Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another discussion with Serious Mike. Oh, sometimes you're just sitting there and the perfect idea of something to talk about falls into your lap. And this is one of those topics. It's kind of just a fun way of looking at the world. Well, not really fun, but just an observational way of noticing some things in the world right now. I was watching a video and it was just about some rights activists. They call them like First Amendment auditors type things, or other police body cam footage type things. And I'm just watching something like that. And you know, the host of the channel was being responsible, and they were doing in these situations you got to just comply. What else can you do? When cops are starting to use force, you have to just comply. And the problem with that is we have Alex Preddy. He was laying on the ground. He was trying to comply. And that went horribly wrong, and he's no longer with us. One of the martyrs that we'll talk about in a second. But what occurred to me is that we are nothing more than heathens feeding a blood god. That's what we're doing right now in America. Heathens feeding a blood god. Our blood god is angry with us. And it's time for sacrifice. Alex Preddy is one of those. Other people that have died in this are martyrs of that. People being mistreated at a pretty wide, massive scale right now. Lots of scary things happening. Lots of pain and suffering being demanded by the blood god right now. What's our blood god? What god do we have as Americans? What's our common God? What's our idol? What's our thing that makes us Americans? The right to say fuck you. The right to say whatever we want. The right to be little douches, to misgender each other, or whatever we want. We get to behave like little pricks, and we call it freedom. That is our God. We worship that God. And that God is not a kind or gentle God. It is always taken a blood sacrifice to quell that blood god. We talk about it. We talk about the heroes that, fought and died, that gave that life to me, right? The old American songs. We talk about it all the time. We're obsessed with the blood that must be spilled for freedom. And we're just part of the cycle. This is no different than feeding a blood god. That's exactly what's going on here. There will be those of us. Now, I'm not saying it's bad advice to just comply. If somebody's coming up with you, they're armed, they have some kind of state-sponsored authority. I'm not saying don't comply. I'm not saying fight back. I don't know what's right for you. I'm not here for advice. I'm here to notice it. Some of us are going to have to pay the price to satiate our God. I guess that got dark. I guess that's frightening. And it is. But it's not like this is new. I suppose for me, maybe it feels newer than it should. I was noticing some of this with some of the protests that were going on with the like the George Floyd murder, and like that got a little wild for a while. But I've been a privileged, rich white dude as far as how I grew up. I've been fine, and it's a scary world out there, and I come from a place where people talk about using violence against people that look different than them. I know people that it's just, they're around where I grew up. And we're at a point now where some of us that have had a little too privileged of a life are noticing our privilege isn't going to save us anymore. Our privilege isn't going to keep me from being that which we throw into the volcano. What's our role? What do we do? Well, that's our own choice to make. We can cower in fear, and we can hope somebody else will take care of freedom for us. Or we can risk it all and roll the dice and maybe even make wrong or bad or unlawful decisions in the process. I don't want the world to be like this. I just think it is. I don't want anybody to hurt each other. I don't want a need for a police state or secret police. I don't want a need to have to challenge the secret police. I don't want any of that. I don't want the people to die that are going to die, and I certainly just wish we didn't have to have the deaths we've had so far. But I can't control the fact that we've set up a blood god system. And what are we going to do about that? Are we just going to feed the blood god forever? Or are we going to find a different way that doesn't require sacrifice? I don't know. We humans have needed blood sacrifices in our lives for as long as can be. Maybe it is all the fight for freedom. And it's all because we see various gods and we just can't comprehend a world where it's not required to pay in blood. Why are we that way? What made us that way? How did it get that way? Anyway, I don't know that that's really all that useful. I just think it's useful to notice. I think it's useful to look at that and compare that to, the historical examples, because what we call martyrs have just always been that blood sacrifice. We've got, we've got all kinds of them throughout our history. And of course, because I want to think about it right now, I won't be able to think of one. But Alex Preddy, he's going to be somebody that matters in all of this. I think when all is said and done, I think history is going to write his name on the plaque on the edge of the volcano that he went into. And we seem strangely okay with this. And don't get me wrong, there are people out there willing to challenge. I don't want those people to have to die. Why has it got to be that way? Those are the best of us. The ones with the courage to stand up with this, the ones to risk knowing that they may face the fate of a martyr, of a sacrifice, of quenching the thirst of our blood god. Anyway, I guess I'll leave you with that. Anyway, with that, be well.